remember I went in for the Sammy role in Shameless, and I wanted it so bad. I almost got run over by Ellen. Actually, I told you that the other day.
Oh yeah.
Going to the callback or whatever to me, and I was so flustered, but I pulled it together.
Sammy, the illegitimate daughter of
so
Macy.
you had sent out the breakdown, and it said nothing about it being Frank's daughter. And so I'm, of course, looking at it like a super sleuth, and I'm like, why is he not hooking up with her? Last episode, I saw he was like getting a blowy in the bus bathroom or something. I'm like, something's going on. So it made me think like, oh shit, this is his daughter, because he didn't want to hook up with her. But you didn't say it in the breakdown.
Well, because the network didn't want us to reveal the storyline.
Right. So I walked in, and after I did it, and you gave me a little direction, I said, this is his daughter, right? And I remember you and Melanie were like,
how'd she figure it out?
Still didn't book it.
Get her out of here. Too smart.
It was hilarious. But I remember being like, oh, even if I don't get it, that was good, Alyson. Good, detective work there. Yeah, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I think, unfortunately, a woman who we had worked with
Emily
on Southland was available, and everybody thought that was, I mean, she sort of looks like
for
Bill.
sure, and she's so bomb. She's
she's a wacky person. I love her.
She's like one of the best actresses. So I was like, oh yeah, well, that's great. But you
were 3 for something, which
sure.
isn't bad.
Right.
If you were a baseball player, you'd be very rich. At 3 for 5 or something.
Yeah, but you know what? When I would get the call to go into your office, it was like, I can act. I can be an actor today. And I would go in, it didn't even really matter. I would choose I would do it up. Like, I went in there looking like shit half the time, honestly. But it felt confident because I knew that you could see past that. As actors, we don't really feel
that's one of
seen.
the kindest things anyone said to me in a long time. Yeah, and it's kind of what you said to me the other day, which is that you always felt that I was going to afford you the opportunity to do your best work. And to be a real actor that day.
Yeah.
And that's a win. And to me, one of the pearls or whatever is, don't think of the audition as the doorway to the job. Think of the audition as an opportunity to do what you love, which is to act. You get 5 minutes on stage today. And whether you get, obviously it's better if you get the job than if you don't, on some practical economic career building resume thing. And that's very important, and I'm not pretending it isn't. But if you get to act twice a week, you're going to get better. Having had a long and successful and prosperous career, gave me the opportunity to keep getting better. And that was part of the reinforcement for me, just as it was for you.
It was great, and I love going into your office.
I wish I had an office.
Many, many, many times.
Damn COVID.
Damn COVID. And your notes is what also made it so great, because if you ever redirect it, because he does go into a whole thing about, is it okay, because we always ask, is it okay they didn't give me an adjustment? Is that bad? Did I suck? Or I'm not in the running? Or they gave me a whole bunch of adjustments, and does that mean I'm in the running? And then you kind of outline it in the book.
Yeah.
But when you did give adjustments, it was process-oriented versus results-oriented.
Completely.
And that's how I try to teach class.
Yeah.
And to
well,
get
it's the
that
only way to
mindset.
really work. If you're gonna, decide how the line should be read from some abstract point of view, or decide when you're supposed to smile or when you're supposed to cry, or when you're supposed to do some result, even if you're really good at that, it won't be deep. And for me, acting is all about working off the wellspring of your connection to your thoughts and feelings. And then you add your technique, and you add your script analysis and all of the many things that go into it. But for me, authentic work comes from connection to thoughts and feelings. And if you memorize the inside progression of the beats, the outside will take care of itself. It really, really will. It takes a while to trust that you want to do it right, but actually it's sort of more interesting if you're connected and you do it wrong. You know, I think I often remember the first time I saw Marlon Brando, I think it was in On the Waterfront, turn a chair around and sit on it like it was a horse or a woman. And you know, that's the wrong way to sit on a chair. Everybody knows you put your ass on the seat, and the front's the front and the back's the back, and
Right.
and that's the right way to do it. But if he was connected to the seduction that was going on, and so turning the chair around, if it was spontaneous, I love it even more.
I have an idea. So does anybody have, I need one actor that's willing to volunteer. One. Oh, we got her. She's got her hand up. Okay, come on up, Cece.
Oh.
All right, let's see. We're going to test out this process versus results situation. Results oriented. Okay, your situation. So you're watching your son play soccer and you're rooting him on. She's super excited and emotional. It's crying a little bit. Okay, let's see. Go.
You got it. You got it. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Great. Okay, John, give her a
Yeah,
process.
from the inside out, your son has been in trouble with authority figures almost all his life. He's rebellious, and it causes so much trouble at school and at church and on teams, and you're worried constantly every moment that he's going to tell the coach to go F himself, and connect to that long history of his misbehavior and your fear about what's going to happen in his life because of his rebellious nature, and then cheer him on.
I'll be him.
Oh my God. I'm so proud of you. You're doing so good, Just keep going, and you're gonna do great.
Nice.
You're so amazing.
The performance isn't terribly different, but one has resonance
Yeah.
that the other doesn't have. Okay, you can go sit back down.
That was fun, and I just met you tonight, so that's great.
Oh, thank you.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that, the difference there? It was much more grounded, much more, and
I
we did
do
that
an
in class.
exercise when I have taught where you might say the word might be whatever it is you call your mom, and I ask you to connect to a moment in your life with as much emotional depth and sense memory as you can bring, a moment when your mother humiliated you, and then you say the word mom, and then I ask you then to connect to a moment when your mother made you feel so loved and secure and proud, and then you say the word mother, and see how the connection creates the reading, and how different and the script just says, she says mom, right? But what you connect to actually is the wellspring of the performance.
Perfect, yeah, exactly. So you're gonna get like directors, I love getting directors that are like, less weepy,
Yeah.
don't be a bitch.
Like him more.
Yeah, yeah, whatever. And so you're like, oh God, actor brain, okay, immediately I will translate that into how I talk to myself as an actor.
Exactly.
So instead of like, okay, I'll just do less of that, or blah, 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 and then the process that's already in there,
Sure.
which just comes with super training, because you don't always get a casting director that's going to do this and give you
No,
the the goods and
And
feel
you
like
have
can
to
play.
take that coarse, shallow result direction and put it back into your machine and make it, or I hate the word organic, but organic.
Okay, what are the ingredients that you look for?
I don't remember, what did I say?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull that up. I'm pulling it up right now. Ingredients, 257.
Oh, good, we skipped 100 pages.
I know, well, I'm bouncing around a little bit, but, all right. Give me a second. So it's what John looks for. So if I had to bottle my taste, here are the ingredients that I seek in an actor. Charisma, electricity, attractiveness, sexuality, intelligence, humor, humanity, a life force. Also good manners.
All of those things.
All of those things.
Yeah.
So people don't think that they're being, that those things come across,
Oh, they do. I mean, if you folks are all way too young probably to have experienced it in person, but find on yes, well, you're right. Find on YouTube the first debate between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon, and you'll see what charisma means.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Nixon needed a shave. He had no personality and Kennedy just wiped the floor with him. And it was an extreme, and that's really where I learned the word charisma, was with John Kennedy. But it's quite remarkable to go back and look at that, and I think you'll learn a lot. I think about performance. They were two different performances.
Yeah, I love the idea of the psychology angle. I was a sociology major, 2020, woohoo. But for the dynamic of the group.
That was your vision?
No, it may have been, but now it's not, 2020. Okay, so let's open it up for questions
Yes, please.
from y'all.
Sure.
Marquette?
I have a kind of more of a technical question. You started the evening out with Biden, so I'm curious if I can use the gentleman here that you brought up earlier as an example.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy, we can all see that, but he's also scary in the long hallway, as he described himself. So how important is it for us to have a particular specific headshot per character that we think we might be good for?
Well, I think for me, the important thing about a headshot is that it is an accurate representation of what you look like. Don't try to be a little more fabulous than you are, or a little more, a black leather jacket in that set of pictures doesn't make you dangerous or sexy. Right? If you're, and by the way, when you're getting your photographs taken, act.
Yeah. Yes.
If you want a sexy picture, think about the best sex you ever had. And if you haven't had great sex, imagine great sex. But it's not about the black leather jacket. So I don't think you need. I think it's good to have a couple of different shots, and I think you and your representatives can choose which one to use for a particular submission, and if you act during the photo shoot, those pictures will have a different quality, will accentuate a different quality, but I don't think you need 140, pictures. Yeah.
That brings up that I did ask this the other day, the scrubs question.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, throw on a scrub and then you look like a doctor, or whatever. And then you were like, yeah, actors would send you stethoscopes.
Yeah.
Things
Plastic
like
stethoscopes from a toy game and syringe. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Was that like a promotional thing? Like, hey, I'm going to be on this show and here's a stethoscope.
I don't know.
Watch me on this.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
I don't know. But in those days, it was before the internet, and
Yeah.
I know a lot of actors who went into pharmacies and would say to the pharmacist, "Excuse me, but I'm reading for ER tomorrow, and the following drugs are mentioned in the scene. What do they do?" And you'd find out whether it was an upper or a downer, and the pharmacists were like having the time of their lives being connected to a scene with George Clooney.
Right.
Especially the female ones.
Oh, right. Probably some of the men too.
Oh,
You
that.
know. I'm going to ask Zoom if they have any questions also.
But anybody in the
anybody
real
here?
world have
Yeah.
any?
I do.
Matt,
Yes.
who does?
Not scruffy guy.
Yeah.
Wait. Does he look dangerous?
No, he looks so charming. And,
But dangerous could be charming. He could be edgy, charming.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh
edgy,
Lord,
charming.
I call myself a siren. So you've been in casting for so long, and
Nice of you to point out.
from your first casting to now, has your process changed?
Well, yeah, because the world has changed. When I was starting out, there were no cell phones. There weren't even fax machines. There was no computers. There was no electronic submissions. There was no electronic auditions. Everything was live. We had to open envelopes with headshots and then find a way to sort them that worked for us, and then go through each role. And the fact that we ever got anything done in time to, action! Oh shit, there's nobody here. That never happened, but it was kind of a miracle. So one of the major changes is of course technology, and then of course COVID, at least has temporarily ended live auditions, and it's all about the self-tape now, and it's much more efficient. Technology works. I admire it. I miss you all, really quite terribly, because my process is all about subjectivity and getting a sense of you, and I learn a lot about you when I go out into the waiting room to get you or to get the guy before you. And I learn a lot about you when you come into the room, and I learn a lot about you when I introduce you to the director and the writer and the producer who are in the room, and how you react. And I learn a lot about you when the director says some result direction like, "Oh, could you like her a little bit more?" or "Don't be so mean," or whatever the shitty direction is. And so I miss all of that, and so I miss you. I miss interacting with you, and I think it's almost, and of course the sad part in some way is that we did really well in the self-tape and Zoom audition room. We did just as well. So in a weird way, the result wasn't any different. There were people who were, shameless plug, right for the role, often got the role, or frequently got the role, just as they used to in the live world. So, but my inner approach hasn't changed at all, except that it's grown and deepened because of experience.
Good question, man. It's a good one. Wow.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
So what is it that you can share with us on this process right now that could, I don't know, just benefit us and the casting directors and yourself as well?
Sure. Well, again, I feel at a very big disadvantage in the self-tape era.
Okay.
Because I don't know whether it's take 28 or take 3. and that's important information.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
if you get there, but it takes you 25 takes to get there,
Exactly.
Television is deeply, quickly, reliably, right now.
Yeah.
And especially if you got 5 lines and you're interacting with the series regular, and that scene better take a half hour and be good. And if it takes 2.5 hours,
It's a problem.
it's a real problem. So
he tries to tell me, it's like, dude, when you do the slate, dude, you're coming off too cardboard or you're coming off too commercial. This is a chance for them to connect with who you are.
it's the only chance. But you can't make it too, you can't do,
Too much.
in the old days, kid actors would come in and their mothers would have taught them a magic trick or a joke
Right.
that they would do before to show their personalities.
I had jokes,
I
yeah.
wanted to kill their mother. not the kid. I mean, the kid is just doing what they're told. But you know, the slate is your opportunity to reveal something about yourself, but don't try too hard.
Right.
Don't do a magic trick. And my personal feeling is, I guess it's true that you can take your time and you can relax into it and all of that, and you didn't have to drive, and you're not 5 minutes late, and you're worried about the parking place, and did they spell your name wrong on the parking pass so they don't have it? And
Energy in the waiting room.
yeah, exactly. Other actors, you know, kind of jabbing you, and all of those things are true.
Yeah.
All of those things can be turned into assets, but personally, I don't think your performance is going to keep getting better and better and better at home.
Right.
I think I work out on Saturday mornings with a wonderful trainer, and he's also an actor, and he's been out here for a couple of years, and he's had 80 self-tape auditions, and he finally got a job, and he confided in me that he did one take for the first time in all of those 80 self-tapes. He just said, you know what? Shoot from the hip. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
You want to do it again just for the hell of it? Nah, fuck it. It's in the can.
Yeah.
Let's send it off. And boom.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident that you're, unless if you're doing it in an apartment in Manhattan and the subway rolls by,
Of course.
do it again. But
So a few things about that. So I'm noticing a lot of people are coming to me who are not, they don't have a background in theater or understanding of what acting is, and they just want to learn for the self-tape.
right,
And that's all their energy is going to this.
how to do it right.
How to do it right, how to look right, how to have the angle thing, and that shit drives me crazy. That's worse than driving for me.
Yeah.
The tech part. So I have to do the tech, take a chill, and then go back to it so everything's ready to go. Because
Yeah.
I don't love the tech. But everyone's training for that.
Yeah.
And then one of my students got a chemistry read to go into New York to chemistry read. She got there, she's like, what's a chemistry read? I said, well, I love you, but you're going to have to play with others now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard, and you got to have that, So I feel like it's a real disservice for some people because they're going to kill the self-tape, and then they're going to get on set working with people, and they're just, I would feel that would be probably difficult.
Well, yeah, and I love you're going to have to play with others is a great phrase to use to encapsulate it, because that playfulness, that joy of interaction, that recognition that your performance is over there, it can't happen in a self-tape. But it's the essential part of your work is the other person.
Yeah.
So
It's a great question, too, because it is,
yeah.
Well, we're
It's a
always
thing.
trying to find we either do like a Zoom and he'll be on the other end and be the opposite lines, or the old school
Always
way where
connect.
you record yourself and then
If you can always use a person, if you can use a person, use it. I use my 11-year-old all the time. I've got callbacks just talking to him.
Killing it.
He's killing it. So, it's just that connection, even if it's on Zoom or FaceTime or something like that.
Having the right lighting and having the microphone in the right place, and all of those things are important too, since we are in the world of self-tapes and technology, and so don't do your audition in front of an Andy Warhol painting because it will upstage you.
Or a pet.
Soup can.
Yeah, or have your dog
Oh,
run
yeah.
in the middle of it.
We have some questions on the Zoom. I